Welcome to Nerd Alert, your home for all your nerdy needs. Today with me, I have Jacob and Tyler. Our first segment is This or That. Tyler, which do you prefer, PlayStation or Xbox?
So I'm going to have to go with Xbox on this one, and here's why. It's the console that I grew up playing. My first console was the Xbox 360, and then eventually I got the Xbox One, and I'm looking forward to playing on the next-gen console, the Xbox X. So I'm going to go Xbox because that's what I started with.
It's not a bad choice. Definitely think I would not choose Xbox because I've always been a PlayStation guy. I wore the shirt for a reason. You know, I first, like he said, first console was a PlayStation original, so I did have that. Started playing on it. Next, really took off with the PlayStation 2. So, and millions of games for that. I mean, they're a dime a dozen at this point. So, really excited. You know, they had the PlayStation event yesterday, so I think that's going to be, exciting because I don't know, Xbox didn't optimize their equipment quite as much as PlayStation did this year. I think PlayStation's definitely taken a better step forward with the equipment that they've put into the system so far. Tony, what do you have next for our segment?
Okay, comedy or action?
Ooh.
Film or TV show? Either one.
I'm going to go comedy. I like to laugh. I mean, action's great, like all the explosions and like the very like climactic scenes, like they have like the cliffhangers. But I like to laugh, so I'm gonna have to go comedy.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with comedy also. I like when they throw in, a little bit of differences in the comedy. Action, I agree. It's a lot of explosions, stuff like that. So I agree, it's fun. But comedy, I prefer to laugh. It's even with both TV shows and television. Watching some of my favorite movies are the Avengers movies. So they throw in a ton of comedy in those because of just the way the comics were written. Were meant to be more entertaining than they were to be exhilarating or thrilling. So I like that they kept that kind of real. But comedy works much better for television. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
No, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with comedy on that. So,
All right.
Tony, what do you have next for us?
All right. Going off with the Avengers and comics, DC or Marvel?
So I'm gonna go with Marvel on this one. I didn't really watch a lot of the superhero stuff because there was just a lot, and sometimes you can just get lost with what's news coming out, and it's hard to follow sometimes. But growing up, my favorite character was Captain America. So
That's a good choice. I mean, I'm torn though because I enjoy both. I like Marvel and DC comics. So for now, I'm gonna pick DC because DC has much more television shows going on right now. They have a ton of comics that are just flying really well. They're just doing really good, and their movies. That's the only downfall. Their movies have not been as good in the past few years. Wonder Woman is their biggest hit. What was that, 2-3 years ago? So I don't know if that would sway you because they have much better television shows. You have the whole Arrowverse that they've created on the CW, and they have that whole contract now. They had the DC Universe app, and it was a site you go subscribe, watch a ton of television shows, and actually read the comics. They have partnered with HBO Max now. So they're starting a ton of their shows there where you can watch them and be produced by HBO. So I think it's going to improve the quality of DC leaps and bounds. So I don't know if that would sway you, would it?
I mean, I'm more of a movie guy when it comes to this stuff. So
Really?
I think I like to see the production and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, either way, you can't go wrong. They're both great series.
I agree. I think what would be better is if Marvel would do something like that because you can't read the Marvel comics anywhere. You would have to go to a legit comic book store and find these comics if you wanted to catch up on them and read them, but you can't do that because there's nowhere to go. You would have to physically go somewhere. That's why I think DC was smarter about it when they took and created a space where they uploaded the scanned comics, and you could sit down and read them. I mean, there might not be the most up-to-date comics. They just started putting the 2019s on, so I think that's kind of cool, though. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And the TV stuff that they have now, like all that content, more
Yeah.
people are like wanting just to watch like an hour show or whatever here and there, not having to like sit down for long periods of time, because some people don't have that time anymore.
I agree. You know, I haven't been to a movie in a long time, so
Yeah.
I've been to a recent one. It was a Marvel movie, but I definitely think that being able to sit down and watch an uncommercialized TV show is where it's at, because it just makes it so much more simple for everybody to actually watch something. So it's a good idea. Tony, what's next, buddy?
All right. You know, we're going to go off right with you. All right. How about movies or TV? Although I feel like you guys have kind of answered it already.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with movies, just for the reason that I like to see like the production and stuff, and yeah, I don't know, I just like the storylines that movies create. Like TV shows, they kind of you only get so much time, and then they stop, and you have to wait like a week or so or whatever for the next one to come out. Whereas movies, you can just kind of watch it all along, like unfold.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm gonna go with television shows because, yes, movies are great, and that's some of the most fun places I can go is to a movie theater. That's where, it's my go-to date night kind of thing.
For sure.
But I still am going to choose television because I enjoy the suspense. I want to know, okay, I'm going to watch this hour-long show. Then I'm going to wait till the next week because I want to build the suspense. I want to sit there and think about it and be like, okay, well, what's going to happen? I'm the one that likes to sit down and talk about it and be like, well, this is kind of what happened with the comics because I've done a little bit of research on this stuff. So, I want to know. I want to know if they're going to keep it consistent or if they're going to change it up. So, plus, even with comedy shows, they throw in the suspense because, that's the only way you're going to stay connected and want to watch this is if they keep the suspense there and, you want to watch it. So I'm going to go with television because I don't think movies can build the same suspense and, tension that you want to have between movies and stuff. Avengers, I'm going to keep going back to it. They are the only ones that have done it in a while with, Endgame and Infinity War. You had Infinity War and everybody's like, well, what are they going to do? What's going to happen? They had to wait a whole year before you found the answer, and I thought that was a great PR stunt.
Yeah, you have a good point with like the TV shows and all that, like not just with like superheroes or whatever, but like also with like reality TV, like shows like Big Brother. I don't know if you've ever watched that, but like
A little bit, nothing crazy.
like just like the suspense from like over a couple of days or a week or whenever like the scheduled shows come out, and just being able to like talk about it and try to like get inside the people's minds and see what they're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. I also see your point to movies. I wanna experience it. That's why I go so much. I wanna experience what a movie has because they put a ton of time and effort into this. So
Big screen,
big
surround
screen,
sound.
big time.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's where it's fun. So, Tony, I think we have time for one more question.
Okay, last one. Netflix or Hulu?
So I'm gonna have to go with Netflix. I think I've just that's just my preferred platform, I guess. Like whenever I want to sit down and watch a show or something, Netflix is just it. I don't know.
I agree. I'm going to go with Netflix because Netflix has much better content, in my opinion. You have more mainstream, hyped up content that you wouldn't get from, say, Hulu, because I know Hulu, they have Fox. They're affiliated with Fox, so you can watch like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a couple other things. So I know they're going to change that because Brooklyn Nine-Nine is no longer owned by Fox, and you can watch some of those shows, but they have some good stuff on Hulu. But I agree. I'm going to go with Netflix because their originals are so much better. Because, in my opinion, Marvel hasn't had a good. I don't think they have a very good television series. They have one with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but Netflix had it. The Punisher, when that came out on Netflix, had a huge impact because everybody was talking about it, and because it was so different. It was so. And what it was the violence. I don't know if you've watched it, but
I haven't seen that.
It was much more violent than any of the other Marvel shows or even movies that have been like that, because that was more authentic to the comics than anything else. Because Marvel was violent, and they were violent, but they weren't as dark as DC Comics. But yeah, Netflix with all their their originals, I think that's much better.
And let's not forget The Office. Who doesn't love The Office?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, Tony, this is up to you, buddy.
Okay. So that wraps up This or That. We're going to take a little break and stick around for more nerdy news.
Camera 3 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take it.
Welcome back. I'm going to open the floor for discussion. Gentlemen, do you have anything on your minds?
Yeah, I have one for you. Story or multiplayer?
I'm gonna have to go story on this one. I just enjoy like being able to like play through, almost like play for a reason, and you can just play like casualty and stuff. You know, you don't have to be like as sweaty for online. Like I think my favorite story modes or just like playthroughs are like the GTA 5 or like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like both great games, so much content. They were really fun to play.
Long stories.
Yes.
I'm gonna go opposite of you actually. I'm gonna go with multiplayer because I can get really competitive, and there are times where even I am like really into the game, and so you can really sit down and get into it. And I like meeting the just random people I run into because currently I'm playing BR, which is like the new big thing, and I don't know, it's not my favorite thing, but like I like to play with randoms because you get the experience. You never know who you're going to run into. You never know if they're going to have a mic, if they're going to be a good teammate, bad teammate. So that's my thing. But I agree with the story, though. I think stories, they're fun. One of the last big stories I played was God of War, 2 PlayStation exclusives, and the Spider-Man game. So, they're fun, but, every once in a while I just want to get into it and get some stress out, some anger, and just yell at my teammates, yell at the game, get crazy. I'm that type of person, so. But yes, I do like to sit down sometimes and play a nice slow story game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Have you played multiplayer games?
I have. I played like the Call of Duties and all that, so they're fun. But like I said, sometimes you just don't want to get like that sweaty or whatever. Like you just don't want to deal with the toxic players that are on there and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
The story mode is like nice to just casually play. Just go with the flow, whatever.
So here's one thing I'll ask you. Did you prefer when you played Call of Duty, did you play the story modes of Call of Duty, or did you prefer the multiplayer modes?
I looked forward more to the story modes, so I guess that's why I leaned towards that, because the Call of Duties were kind of the first thing I played, along with like the Assassin's Creed and stuff like that. So like I just enjoyed the story modes a little bit better.
I can agree with that. Yeah, I enjoyed the multiplayer of the Call of Duty games, but the stories are really what kept bringing me back year after year, because you had these characters that you all knew every single year, and you wanted to see, okay, how are they going to bring it back and have them talk more and go further into them. So I think that's a good idea. And I'm going to throw it back in a full circle here. You were talking about GTA. Did you like the GTA multiplayer? Because it was more story-based multiplayer style.
Yeah,
So,
I
I wasn't sure what you thought of
I
it.
enjoy it. Like a lot of my friends, we play it all the time. Like it's basically our go-to. Like Friday nights, we're just chilling. It's like hop on GTA,
Yeah, I get
so, yeah, I enjoyed the GTA Online. So
I played it a lot. My thing about it was that after so long being not part of it and not being into the whole series of the multiplayer, because the multiplayer has gone in leaps and bounds since
Yeah.
it first came out, that I tried to get back into it and I couldn't, because it was just so vastly different than what it was originally.
yeah,
And
they added like so much more to the game, like online specifically. And like once you don't play for like 6 months or whatever, you really do like fall behind compared to like other players. And especially in like a game like that where it's like free world, and even though it's online, like if if you're not like a higher level or don't have something that another player has, it can get like frustrating.
Yeah, and that happens. So I'm actually going to switch up the topic now. I want to see what your thoughts are. Yesterday, we talked about the PlayStation had an event. I haven't seen much about the Xbox events, anything that's been going on with them. So would you tell me a little bit about what's going on with the whole next gen of Xbox and what's going on with that?
Sure. Well, the Xbox X, it's going to be $499, just like the PlayStation 5. There hasn't really been like anything gigantic that's popped out with like Xbox and the game specifically. But one thing that is big, Microsoft is kind of going all in with the Game Pass. They're adding EA access for anyone who has the Game Pass. So that's really big. You get like all the EA games for.
That's interesting. I know PlayStation's not doing anything like that, but they are bringing back one of their big things with all their major exclusives and different formats of games that they're doing. So one of Sony's big things is they like to bring in their indie creators. So what they're doing is they have a bunch of like weird, and they are kind of weird, but they're different puzzle games. So there's one you play as stray cats in Tokyo, and you just solve a bunch of puzzles. But they're bringing back, the major ones. I know we had talked about the Spider-Man. They're bringing it back with Miles Morales' story. The God of War from 2018. They're finally have at least teased a sequel with Ragnarok. And, I don't know what you've seen with, if there's anything Xbox-wise that's exclusive, or if you want to talk about the Spider-Man, if you've seen any of it. Being an Xbox player.
Well, unfortunately, being an Xbox player, I never got to like experience it and play it for myself. But like watching other people play it and hear like friends who have gone and played this series and stuff, it's a great game. Like visually, it's very nice and clean. Like the movement looks amazing. All like the deep customizations with what you can do with him and how you like develop your player through the storyline, or develop Spider-Man through the storyline. It's fun to watch.
It is a lot of fun. I played it personally and enjoyed all the customization. You had so many different suits. I mean, they went through suits of all the years. You did different things. So I thought that was really interesting. And I know PlayStation, they are doing this thing with PlayStation Plus now. You're going to be able to play. They at least teased this. I'm not sure if it's confirmed, so I'm gonna clarify that now. But they talked you could play every generation of PlayStation on the system. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, Xbox is doing something like that. It's going to be Xbox some Xbox 360 games and Xbox original games. But anything from the Xbox One, I believe, is compatible with the new Xbox One X. So
that sounds cool. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching. This has been Nerd Alert, where you get all your nerdy needs. And be sure to check again in 2 weeks for our next episode. And I hope everybody enjoyed. Good night.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.